Hey everybody, it's Dina Rico from the Creativity Cave, and welcome to another edition of Simple to Stunning Sunday. I'm so excited to share with you some really awesome projects featuring the prized Peony bundle. This is my Creativity to Go kit for December. That's the month we're in. And these cards are going to be focused on sympathy cards for the Creativity to Go kit, because those are the cards you always need at the last minute. Great to have some extra on hand. Of course, you can substitute any sentiment that you would like for the projects that we'll make, but I think they really are gorgeous cards for sympathy cards. So let me get started. Our first card is really quite simple. I'm going to start with a card base that is gray granite cardstock, and I just love this color. It's a really nice neutral color. And I am going to take a piece of Whisper White that is, I think, I have to do a quick measurement here, 3.5 by, I want to say 4 3/4. Okay, and I'm going to use my Stamparatus to stamp my flower. Now, part of the reason why I chose to use my Stamparatus is simply because it's easier to put a big stamp like this in the Stamparatus and work with it rather than try and finagle a large block. So I just find that works pretty easy. I have it lined up to be in this corner. And so I'll ink this up with some basic gray ink. I'm also going to incorporate some of the Peony Garden DSP in my card. And I really love that DSP. It's so beautiful. And I would encourage you to join me live tomorrow. On Monday is my normal live video at 4 p.m. Central. And we're going to make another really pretty card with this DSP. So there we go. Isn't that just gorgeous? All right, so I'll set this aside. And I wanted to leave enough room in the corner here so I could add my sentiment. And that, oops, that is My Thoughts Are With You, which is a really nice sentiment. Good for thinking of you. Definitely could be sympathy, whatever you need. Okay, I'm also going to adhere this to a piece of my DSP as mentioned, and I have about roughly 3/4 of an inch hanging off the side. I want to add a little bit of ribbon to this, and I have a piece here, and I don't know if this is the right size or not. Oh, it is. Well, how about that? I must have thought ahead far enough to cut myself an extra piece. Okay, so I'll just tie this on over that border between the DSP and the cardstock, just because it was a little plain if I didn't add this. Okay, and then I might even change up my card as we go here from what I originally planned, and you can tell me what you think. Now this is a little bit loose, so what I'll do is just take a glue dot and place it underneath the knot, and then that just kind of holds everything right in place for me so that that doesn't become a problem. Okay, so that looks great. We're going to trim those ends and then put it on our card. Okay, and that's all there is to that. So really a very simple project. For a very nice card to keep, like I said, on hand for when you need one in a pinch. Okay, so there we go. Our next card, so that's our simple card. Our next card is going to add just a little bit of texture and a little bit more interest. So I'm going to start this time with a half a sheet of thick white cardstock, and our thick white, or actually all of our white cardstock is about to retire. There's a limit on 2 of each. white cardstock items, and they'll probably be selling out soon. The reason is because the paper mill where we get our cardstock from had to close, and while we're working on getting a replacement, actually we have a replacement coming, there might be a little delay in that. So, okay, now I'm going to work with a slightly smaller piece. So I'm going to move this over 1/8 of an inch so that I can keep my flower kind of centered on this panel. And we're going to ink that up once again. So don't worry about the cardstock. We have a replacement coming that is going to be fairly similar, but not exact, just so you know. And it'll be coming shortly. Okay, so there we go. That's stamped on there, looks fantastic. And I'm going to take and actually I'm going to take this panel and run it through the Diamonds, Dainty Diamonds embossing folder. This is a folder that's part of the suite, and I really like it. It's very dainty and pretty, and it adds a very nice texture. So let me quick run that through my machine. I think we're calling it the Big Boss machine now. So you can tell me what you think about that. So it just added some texture, which I think is kind of fun. That kind of just steps up the whole thing a little bit. I also have that same DSP that I was using. It's very pretty. That will add to our card as well. And I just want to make sure that this is the same. Yes. Sometimes when you emboss things, it can shrink the cardstock just a little because of the dimension in the embossing. And so I just wanted to make sure that didn't happen. Okay, so I'm just going to add a strip. This is about a 1-inch strip by 5 1/4 on the end here. And then I am going to, or I did, die cut this. Now this is a border that comes with the dies that coordinate with this set. You can see it adds both cutting and texture embossing in it, or actually debossing. And I just want to add that to the edge of my card here. And I really like this. This is cut from Soft Seafoam, which is just a really pretty color. And I'm just going to cut that last little loop off because we want it to fit on here nicely. And then I'll just adhere it like that along the edge of my embossed panel, like so. And then we will adhere this panel onto our card, and we're going to pop that up. You know I love to pop stuff up, so we'll use up some of these edge pieces. Now this is, as I said, Seaside Spray, and looks awesome with the gray tones from this DSP. One of the things I love about the DSP is while it showcases petal pink, you can really use almost any color with it, which is really nice. It gives the paper a lot of versatility. Okay, so that looks fantastic. I also used my Tasteful Label dies, and I die cut this small label, and I'm going to stamp my sentiment on there as well. There we go. My thoughts are with you. And I'm going to add this to my card. I thought it needed a little touch of color. So I have this piece of Seaside Spray. And I almost said Soft Seafoam. I wonder if I said that earlier. Seaside Seafoam. It's hard to keep them all straight. Seafoam is like a really light green, and Seaside Spray is this beautiful blue color. Okay, so I'm just running my bone folder all over this little panel, back and forth, left and right. You can see the layers are starting to separate, and then when I pull them apart, I get this beautiful texture on the inside. Now save that other half because we're going to use that in just a little bit. But I wanted to just add this to my panel to add just a little extra color on here. So I'm just going to tack that down. And then we'll pop our sentiment on right over the top. of this. And again, so pretty. Now to finish this off, I'm going to add just a little bit of embellishments with the Elegant Faceted Gems. These are part of the suite that has the prized peony. So I'll take my take your pick tool and I'll just pick up a couple of these and place them right onto my card. Oh, so pretty. So I'll just add a couple here and maybe one more smaller one up there. And there is my stepped up version. So gorgeous. Okay. Next, I wanted to take and add a little bit more to the next version. So for this one, I will also start with a half a sheet of thick white cardstock. And again, that thick white is, I think, already out of stock. And then our other Whisper White items will be eventually transitioning over to a new bright, I think it's called bright white, just so you know that is happening. Now, I cut a piece of DSP and I thought we would actually stamp our beautiful peony on that. Now this, we've been using basic gray ink, but this time I'm going to use basic gray, gray granite ink, because that is the color of this gray. The gray in this paper was basic gray, and that's why I used that. Though I did stick with the gray granite card base, and that was kind of because of the ribbon. It sort of can cross over, which is nice. All right, so we're going to use some gray granite. I'll ink up my stamp once again. You want to make sure your stamp is not dry when you go to stamp on this paper, because there's a pattern in the background and you want to make sure that it will show up. Also, if you pull your sleeve down, that gives you the ability to kind of rub on here really easily. And when I pull that off, you can see how gorgeous that looks. So that was perfect. Next, I want to adhere that to a panel of gray granite cardstock. It's just a little bit bigger. You can see, oh, this paper is so pretty. This is probably my favorite pattern right here. And it mimics the diamond pattern. Not exactly, but it's similar to the diamond pattern that is in that embossing folder, which is really nice. Okay, now I also added a layer of Whisper White that I die cut with that stitched rectangle die. This is the second to largest of the stitched rectangles, and I think it adds a very nice touch when you add layers with that die. So I'm going to actually pop this up onto my card, and then, onto the rectangle, and then we'll adhere that to our card base. Now, one of the options, and I'll show you the difference, and then you can tell me which one you prefer. I actually did emboss a layer of Whisper White with that Dainty Diamonds embossing folder, but I kind of felt like it was a little much when I went to add it to my card. So here's the card base with that embossed panel. And then when I added this to it, I was like, wow, that's a lot happening there. Especially because we're going to also add a strip of gray granite that's been embossed, this little piece right here. And when I did all of that, I just felt like it was kind of a lot going on. But I will adhere it to this piece, and then you can tell me what you think in the comments. I love hearing what your thoughts are about things like that in the comments, so definitely let me know. So I'll just, like before, adhere that embossed die cut scalloped border on the edge there, and then we'll adhere this whole thing to our card base. And again, that embossed panel was a 4 1/8 by 5 3/8 inch piece of Whisper White that I put on the white card. Okay, so now we've got that on here. And then remember I said to save this piece, I'm going to trim it just slightly to fit on our panel. And I do have a second, or I cut another one of these for our sentiment, and I'm just going to trim it so it's a little shorter. Okay, so I'll attach that like so, and then we'll stamp our sentiment, this time in gray granite ink, on that same label. And we'll pop this up onto our card. Now I also have a few embellishments to put on here. So first, we obviously need some gems. So this time I used kind of those clear ones. This time I'm going to use these sort of pearlescent-y ones. And we'll put one right there, another one up here, and one additional one up here. And that looks wonderful. Now, I did one other thing, and I didn't like how it came out, but I think we could do it a little differently, and it'll look great. And I'll show you what that is, too. On my original sample, I colored the peony in with my clear Wink Stella, and I don't know, it wasn't quite right for me. So I thought I would back off a little bit, and instead of coloring the whole thing in, I would just do some spritzing. So to spritz this, let me clear my surface a little bit here. I'm just going to take my bone folder and smack this against that, and that'll give me little flecks of the clear Wink Stella rather than a lot of clear Wink Stella, and I like that better. It's not quite as intense. Okay, so all of that looks fantastic. Now here you can tell me which version you like better, the one with the embossing or the one without. Let me know in the comments. And then this is our stunning card. Excuse me. Oh, this is our stepped up card. And finally, our simple card. So I hope you loved these cards. If you're interested in purchasing any of the items that I used tonight, you certainly can shop my online store. Through the 14th, which is Monday, I have an amazing special going on where you can get my brand new stamp set for free as part of my 12 Days of Christmas promotion. So just one more day on that through Monday. Sorry, I have a flyer for it. I thought I had it sitting right here. Of course I don't. Here we go, 12 Days of Christmas. In order to get my stamp set for free, you do need to shop my online store and use the host code right here. And I'll put links to that right in the description of this video. If you spend $100, you can get my free autographed stamp set, which is called Pretty Perennials. It's coming out in January. And this is what it looks like. Oh, I love this so much. If you spend $150, you can get the stamp set plus my online class PDF, which will come out in January. And if you spend $200, you can get the stamp set autographed, the online class, plus the pre-cut cardstock for it. Now, whichever option you choose, you do need to use the host code no matter what in order to get these awesome special gifts. I also, as I mentioned at the beginning, have the Creativity to Go kit for this bundle that is coming up this week. It'll be released, so you can register for that, and I will put the link for that as well in this video description. So thank you guys so much for stamping with me today. I hope you had a great time, and let me know which version of these you like best, as well as whether you like the embossing or not on our stunning card. Have a great night, guys. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.